There are many videos on the internet of so many successful entrepreneurs that I personally have looked up to for so long and I continue to look up to, that have so many videos about how they did it, their experience with entrepreneurship, and watching those videos has actually helped me tremendously. Yet one thing that I would want to see more, or especially when I first started, that I would have wanted to see more of, is people in their 20s that are actually sharing their experience with entrepreneurship, things that they wish they knew earlier. And so I decided that maybe I would do one of those videos and share with all of you my personal experience with entrepreneurship, how I started, several mistakes that I made, and I can maybe this way help you to get my lessons without making the mistakes that I first made. So with that being said, let's get right into it. For context, I'm 25 years old and I have successfully founded and run 3 businesses. One of them is a marketing agency, the second one is a jewelry brand, and then the third one is content creation, which, unlike popular belief, it is actually a business when you do it full-time or professionally. I also currently have some other projects that I'm working on and could potentially transform into businesses, but that's a story for another day. So lesson number 1, the first thing I wish I actually knew before starting playing around with entrepreneurship is how hard it actually is. There are so many videos on the internet of people telling you that you should get this course and then you're going to be able to be making lots and lots of money, that you just need to start posting and then you're going to be an influencer or a content creator, that you should start this side hustle and then all of a sudden you can quit your 9-to-5 job and work 3 hours a day and just make tons and tons of money. But in my experience, this is not actually the case. More and more people start to actually speak up about it, which I really believe it's so important. And the reason why it's so important to actually talk about it, and the reason why I am starting from this lesson, is not to discourage people to not start it, but I truly believe that if you actually know what is it that you're getting yourself into, you have way higher chances of not giving up and actually sticking to it, and just understanding that all of the difficulties you're going to face and all of the disappointments and the failures is not you doing something wrong, but it's just an essential part of the journey. So to make this extremely personal, I tried doing both e-commerce and content creation / influencing 2 years before the time that I actually did it, and it worked. And at the time, both of those endeavors sort of kind of failed. I don't like using the word failed because I did learn a lot of things, but they did fail in the sense that my e-commerce business made absolutely no money and the content creation influencing thing never took off. So after trying that for a year and basically seeing those results that I just described, which were not so encouraging, I decided to sort of give up on it. So I left it on the side and I just told myself that I just wasn't made for this, that I couldn't do it. I was seeing everybody else posting on the internet how they made this and they succeeded this and they made this money and they started a business and they posted and they, people found out their content and everything was amazing. And for me, I was like, this is not my reality, so maybe this is not the thing for me. So I basically took a gap time, a gap year, and I started sort of doing other things. I still stayed in touch with entrepreneurship in the sense that I still tried doing several entrepreneurial sort of things, because that was sort of a calling for me. It was the first time that I was actually feeling maybe this gets me moving. I don't want to completely lose it, but I was also so convinced that this isn't for me that I wasn't doing anything too concrete. But this sort of time that I was sort of doing things a little bit entrepreneurial, but nothing too concrete, nothing really of my own, nothing really, nothing that I could describe to anyone. Oh, hey, I have a business, I'm doing this. This was also the time that I realized that the reason why I failed, quote unquote, the first time was because of a massive lack of knowledge about what it is like to start a business, about the things that I needed to do, about how to acquire clients, about how to retain them, and millions of other things. I had absolutely no entrepreneurial business sort of knowledge. And I also lacked the skills to actually do it the way I wanted to do it. Another thing I realized at that time was that my timeline was just so massively off. When I first started those 2 years ago, when I first started going after both e-commerce and content creation slash influencing, I just had this naive optimism that things are just going to take off so fast. And the reason why I had this confidence to an extent is because of the massive amount of misinformation on the internet on how easy it is supposedly to do this, to start a business, to make money, to make six figures, to become a content creator, to become an influencer, to quit your 9 to 5 and all of that. My timeline was just so off. And so I realized that maybe at the end of the day, it's not that entrepreneurship wasn't for me, it's just that I was doing it all wrong. Also, the time, it is important to remember, as I said, that I was completely lacking the skills to do what I wanted to do. So both of the things that really called me, and it's also my background, my educational background, hard to do with marketing, media, and all of that. And at the time I was very good at photography, but I had absolutely no idea how to do storytelling, in the sense that, yeah, I knew in theory, the good practices of good storytelling, but I've never actually crafted a story myself. I've never tried to put this theory into practice. So I had no idea how to do storytelling. I had absolutely no idea how to do mass produce content, how to edit, best practices when it comes to social media. Nothing. I had absolutely no skills to do what I wanted to do. So what I decided to do, basically, since I really had this calling and I really felt like maybe it is for me, I just didn't do it the right way the first time around. What I decided to do is to devote a disproportionate amount of time on actually acquiring the knowledge and the skills that I needed in order to be able to actually give my dream a chance. And so this is exactly what I did. So the second time around that I pursued entrepreneurship and I started all of my 3 businesses, what I did is I said to myself, I'm going to be doing the things that I know I have to be doing for at least a year consistently every single day before even considering to quit, before even considering that this is maybe not for me. And another thing I also did is that I continued to try to acquire more knowledge and more skills to actually improve my game, because yes, I learned a lot of stuff in that year that I was experimenting. I was yeah, let me give this a real chance. But, I realized that this 1 year, it didn't make me better than other people, the people I wanted to compete against. It just gave me an opportunity to start. So I realized very early on that if I wanted to actually do something and be good at it, I really had to keep upping up my game. And that was basically the moment where things started to turn around for me. My consistency plus my new knowledge paid off, and all of my businesses sort of started to take off along the way. Lesson number 2 was about diversification, and specifically the fact that I diversified my business activities and my income streams way too early. And this is something I'm still sort of working around, but I definitely wouldn't recommend that. So here's the problem. When you start doing entrepreneurship, something that I found as, someone doing that in their 20s, is that once you start doing it, 2 things usually occur. One is that once you're into it, your brain just can't stop doing it, which means that you keep coming up with business ideas, you keep spotting gaps in the market and what could you do, what business could you start to solve this problem, and you just keep coming up with new things that you could start. Or the second thing is that you're starting things that don't really work, and then you want to start more businesses, have more income streams, because you have this irrational optimism that this next business is actually going to work, which is not really true, because in theory anything could work. Whilst I do definitely believe in the idea of diversifying your income streams, I also think that you shouldn't do it very early. You shouldn't directly try to diversify your activities and your income streams Instead, from my experience, what would work better is to nail down one thing, build one very healthy and profitable business, and then start doing other things, instead of having this sort of mindset that, you know, because you're good at many things or because you have multiple different skills, this means that potentially you could have multiple different businesses that are all healthy and income producing, and so on and so forth. And this is a mistake I made. If I started all over again, I wouldn't diversify that early. And actually, I learned my lesson and I applied this practice on my social media. So for example, a lot of creators, when they start doing social media, they start having all of their channels together, or at least 2 or 3 channels together. For example, a TikTok account, an Instagram account, and then a YouTube or Snapchat or something else. So I didn't do that. I learned my mistake from my sort of like business development plan. And what I did is that I started with one single platform, then that platform took off, and then I moved to the next platform, the platform took off, and then I moved to another platform and another platform, and so on and so forth. And that actually worked great for me. So I would definitely recommend holding off on diversification way too early, because you feel like you need more streams of income, or you could do more things and make more money. The third lesson is that, or mistake sort of, is that I wish I have invested my earnings earlier. And by earlier, I mean from day one. I know that nowadays it's like, it's talked a lot. I feel like a lot of people are saying, you know, invest, 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 invest. And even though for me, I always sort of knew that the solid way to make more money is to spend money, and by spend I mean invest it. I never really seriously thought of investing because I also didn't know how to do it. It looked very complicated to me, and so, you know, I just didn't go hard on investing from day one. I didn't go on investing at all from day one. I started quite later. And so this is something that I would definitely recommend. I know that we are also conditioned to, the minute we're making some money, we all want to like spend it, enjoy it, you know, like do things with it, or even like keep it on the side because, you know, you never know what happens. But I think financial literacy is just so important. I just can't stress it enough. Do your research, and from my experience, just invest your money, and you're going to be able to do all of the things that you want to do at a way bigger scale later. Delayed gratification is definitely a thing, and it's an amazing thing. So yeah, to sum it up, I wish I had invested my earnings from day one. The fourth lesson is about consistency, and specifically the fact that consistency doesn't look the same every single day. So I personally struggle a lot with over accountability. So in my head, it's like, and this is something I want to say, like, I'm still trying to work on it. I'm nowhere near to like being rid of it or like having perfected my mindset around it, which is why I'm also sharing it. So the thing with me is that I feel like, because this is my thing, you know, it's my businesses, it's my responsibility. If I don't work one day as many hours as I thought I should be working, then I beat myself up about it. Or if I take a day off, then I feel guilty because I'm not working. Or if I don't manage to finish my to-do list, then I feel like the world is coming to an end and my businesses are going to fail, because if I'm not doing the things that are supposed to be done, then who's going to do it, and so on and so forth. But what I realize more and more every single day is that consistency isn't showing up every single day and doing exactly the same thing with the exact same energy and the exact same mindset and having the exact same output. Consistency means showing up every single day and doing your best. And your best might look like doing a little bit more today and a little bit less tomorrow. But at the end of the day, what actually matters is just showing up every single day and doing what you can. Allowing yourself that flexibility doesn't make you complacent. It just makes you someone who prioritizes the longevity of the business and the project instead of just going hard, like non-stop, not taking any breaks, not prioritizing yourself and your mental and physical health, and then burning out on the first year. There's no business if there is no you. The fifth and final lesson that I am so guilty of, especially in the beginning, was under advertising myself. And the thing is that I didn't put myself forward enough. I didn't share enough with people what I was doing and what are my services and what am I good at and what's my business, either because I was just too shy, or I was thinking, who are people going to think I am? Or I just had this sort of like naive mindset, just because I'm good at what I do, people are just gonna find out about me and my services, and they're just gonna come to me and they are going to want to work with me, and so on and so forth. And the Lord, do I stand corrected. First of all, I am exactly who I think I am. I am someone who decided to go after her passion and her dream. I'm someone who decides to put herself forward every single day. I'm someone who's ready to deal with her fears and maybe even failure. And if that's not good enough for someone, then so be it. So from never mentioning to anyone what is it that I do, who I am, what are my services, and so on and so forth, I literally turned into a person that will purposely turn the conversation to a subject that allows me to sell myself and my services, and allows me to speak about that good work that I can do and how is it that I can work with people and I can be useful to them. Secondly, I got rid of that stupid idea that people were actually going to magically find me because I'm super good at what I do, and I started pitching myself consistently every single day to businesses, to brands, to potential clients. And I started purposely showing off that good work that I could actually do for them. I honestly believe that word of mouth works, and it works especially when you're really good at what you do. But in my opinion and in my experience, nothing beats volume. So you need to get your work in front of as many people as possible, in front of as many eyeballs as possible. And so in order to do that, you need to actually start pitching yourself. And at the end of the day, in case you're not doing that because you're thinking, okay, but if I start, pitching people, I will get rejected so many times, which is something that I was definitely thinking, and it is a reality. But what I do have to say about it is that it's not personal. If it's a no, then it's a no. It's just business. Just move on until you actually find the people that do want to work with you and that appreciate you and that they see the future in what you do and what it is that you have to offer. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this video useful and somehow inspirational. Definitely let me know if you would like a part 2, because I definitely have more things that I think could be useful and that I would actually love to share with you. And if you did like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel. As per usual, you will find all of my resources, all of my socials, all of my links on the description box. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next week.